I am joined in this very special edition here in Manila at the Diamond Hotel by Senator Risa Hontiveros. She has been in the Senate since 2016, but this past year, especially since about March of this year, has been especially prolific for her public appearances because she has been investigating a really fascinating case that erupted here in March with the police raid on a Philippine Offshore Gaming Organization site in Bamban, Tarlac. And that has turned into the story that just gets weirder and more fascinating and more disturbing all the time. So let's get to Mayor Alice Guo. Who is she? I'll ask this question: Where did she come from? I'm not sure we know the answer to that. And why has she become so important to this story?
She became important because when the PAOC, the Presidential Anti-Crime Commission, raided that one of the most recent POGO hubs in Bamban, Tarlac. So this was her local government unit. She's the mayor there. But they also found evidence on site, documentary evidence, that not only had she been the authorized representative of Hong Sheng, which applied for a letter of no objection to construct a POGO hub there, but she hadn't divested herself of involvement in the POGO hub. PAOC found documents on site that she continued to pay the electricity bills. She was paying the wages of the maintenance employees there. So we got curious about her and trying to get to know more about her, and especially after her mysterious statements at the first hearing that she attended, we continued to dig deeper. And there we found that her Filipino citizenship, which allowed her to run for mayor in the first place, was under question. We later found out, and with the sleuthing of the National Bureau of Investigation, that her fingerprints, when she had applied for an NBI clearance,
National Bureau of Investigation,
National Bureau of Investigation, 100% matched with the fingerprints of a Chinese minor named Guo Huaping, who had been listed by her mother, Lin Wenyi, as a dependent when the mother applied a decade before for a special investor's resident visa. And we also found with further research that both her parents are not Filipino citizens either. They are Chinese citizens. And both are mentioned many times as co-incorporators in her various businesses. So we got not less and less, but more and more curious about her as our fact-finding and as the hearings went on. And the latest is now not even her shadow can be seen after she was absent from a couple of hearings. We subpoenaed her and her family members and close associates. They ignored that as well. So now they are about 8 of them subject of a citation in contempt and therefore a warrant of arrest. But not even her shadow can be seen. So I can't be sure that she's still in the country.
Oh. Yeah. So I seem to recall at the beginning of this thing that there was a discussion about how she grew up in the Philippines, right? And there was a story about that involved pig farming, was it?
That's right, pig farming.
And then through the process of the investigation, it turns out that she owned a number of luxury vehicles and a helicopter.
And a helicopter.
So, and of course, one of the things that's so interesting about this is she was able to demonstrate Filipino citizen based on an amended birth certificate. Is that correct? So what are these amended birth certificates, and what is the issue with them?
Her father applied for a late registration of live birth when she was about 19 years old. He did it through one of the local registrar's offices of the National Statistical Administration, Civil Registrar's Office. But he was supposed to submit several documents. He submitted only one, and late. He should have submitted the documents first and then been issued the late registration of live birth. He got the late registration first of all, and then submitted late only one document. And even that late registration of live birth, the Philippine Statistical Authority said in one of our hearings that it's an irregular birth certificate. The same for the brother of Mayor Alice Guo, or whom we now know as Guo Huaping. So the National Statistical Administration recommended to the Office of the Solicitor General to cancel these irregular birth certificates. And the Office of the Solicitor General said they would accelerate that process. That has set into motion a sort of domino effect among other government agencies, some of which started coordinating with each other even while we were investigating, and we still are investigating this POGO hub in Bamban and Mayor Alice Guo. The Office of the Solicitor General said they are also filing a case of quo warranto against her to remove her as mayor, as if to say that since she was not qualified after all, she should never have been able to file a certificate of candidacy, run, and now govern as mayor.
So, okay, so we certainly have strong evidence of a political official's involvement in a criminal organization. We assume this POGO, this particular POGO, and maybe other POGOs are being run by some kind of a Chinese origin criminal organization, syndicate. We have some evidence that there has been corruption in the process of issuing these birth certificates. We don't really know why Alice Guo was put into this position. Was she planted there by someone to grow up in the political system and gain influence? Now she's a mayor of a small city, but eventually she could be mayor of a big city, or a governor, or something more. So what is, when you take a step back at this whole situation, I mean, we seem to have gone far beyond a local crime story.
Yes, it seems so. Also because when we did the ocular inspection of the POGO hub in Bamban and began hearing and seeing these disturbing facts about Mayor Alice Guo, making us want to investigate her more, the other thing that came up was the possibility that there was surveillance of Philippine government communications from Bamban, and the possibility also that there was hacking of Philippine government websites emanating from Bamban. That's why the angle of possible espionage arose. And as far as I know, our intelligence agencies are still investigating that. If that should be established, then it would tell me that it wasn't unreasonable of us to start asking, how did she get here in the first place? Was she planted? Was it a Chinese government project? Was it a Chinese criminal syndicate project? Was it both? And that's very important for us to try to understand well, because Bamban is not the only place that there are POGO hubs in the Philippines. And if such malign actors were at work in her case, as you mentioned, what's to stop them from doing it in other parts of the Philippines or going even higher in government?